So Julia, what aspect of this upcoming week are you looking forward to the most?
I think being in like such a competitive environment, like I haven't been in an environment where there's the top like 40 people in the country in every event. So I think I'm really excited just to see a lot of fast swimming, and I'm excited to be one of those people as well when I'm swimming beside them all. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm most excited for.
Awesome. Can you talk about what it will be like to represent GW at such a big event?
I think it's kind of crazy because we haven't had someone in such a long time. So I'm just really excited to be the first person in a long time. And I also think like for other people upcoming, it's like very good to see that someone is able to do it because it hasn't been seen in such a long time, in the women's side at least.
Yeah, Julia, if you could describe, that moment when you realized that you would be going to the NCAAs, just describe the feeling and what it meant to you at that moment.
It was like I honestly I didn't believe it for a long time. Like it didn't settle in. When I went to Georgia, I still was like very like, oh, I don't know if I'll make it. And then I swam my race, and like it felt great. It felt just knowing that I was like top 40 was crazy to me. Like I wasn't expecting that whatsoever at the start of the season. So it was just really exciting. And it's just made me like really excited for the next couple of years that I'm here. But yeah, it was just unbelievable. Like I didn't feel like it was real.
Yeah. Has your preparation changed at all ahead of the NCAAs, or has it just been like business as usual for you getting ready?
So because we've been racing so much in the past month, it's been quite difficult to really like build up the volume again. So that was intense last week, but then coming closer into the competition, it was the same type of thing as a couple weeks before the A10 meet. So it's been fun. It's been fun.
She's done a phenomenal job over the last couple of weeks.
Brian, could you just speak to a little bit what it means to you to have your first swimmer in the women's program since you've been here qualified?
Yeah, I think Julia nailed it. I think the most special thing was that it was pretty unexpected. Like she had to drop 5 seconds to get there, and you don't just like count on that in any given year. So I think that makes it more fun. When there's expectation or something along those lines, a lot of times it can take the excitement and the fun out of it. So that was the best part to me was having a little bit of an unexpected result, and it really started at the A10 meet. She had such a phenomenal meet, and probably like just took a bit of a leap forward at that point. And because of that, it wasn't shocking what she did in Georgia to qualify. The thing that was shocking about it is that most swimmers don't get faster week over week. Most swimmers go to these last chance meets and do not get faster. So to be one of the few, in the United States that did that is pretty special. So that was kind of my takeaway on it.
Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Great.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead on Zoom.
Thank you for having me by Zoom. So I don't know if you guys got a little warning from Brian that I might ask some kind of basic questions about your origin story, but I would love to hear about growing up in Northern Ireland and about how you ended up at GW.
So growing up in a different country, the like sports aspect of it is very different because we don't really have like the team aspect of it. It's more just individualized. So that part was very different when I first came here. I really was like taken aback by how much support you receive from the other people on your team. I think like just being from a different country, I think makes me appreciate the experience here more. Because it's like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. But I think that definitely like I would, if I probably didn't have the same growing up that I did and didn't like swim at the same club that I did, I don't think that I would have the same experience here. So I think it all like backs off each other. But I definitely miss home sometimes, but I like it here a lot. So I'm good here.
When you say the club that you swam at, what was the kind of first of all, I guess how do you discover that swimming is a passion for you when you don't have that team atmosphere and that kind of intense competition? Like, how do you figure that out?
So my sister used to swim. She's 3 years older than me. So then I only really started because she was swimming, and then I just kind of got good at it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the story.
Passion.
Yeah, that was kind of the story, and I got to like travel to a lot of different places, and then for a while I was like, oh, like, is this for me? And then like this opportunity to come here came up, and then I was like, oh, for sure. So
it sounds like both the GW and the NCAA's were kind of a surprise. It was kind of like, okay, here we are, let's do it then, I guess.
yeah. It's kind of just like, I like to go with the flow. I don't like to think too far ahead. So coming here was, it was like, once I had talked to Brian, I was like, okay, yeah, I want to come here. But before Brian had reached out and stuff, I was really unsure about coming to America at all. But then it's just like, everything kind of aligned. Everything worked out. So, yeah.
Brian, do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember it well.
What did you do?
Yeah, I actually think the first time we spoke, I was down at my in-laws' house on their back porch. And that's what's funny about it. We have so many conversations with so many athletes. To remember a specific that way is actually kind of rare. But I think Julia nailed it. I mean, it just kind of lined up. GW was a good fit in what she was looking for, at the moment. And it was, kind of period of time. We were all locked down during COVID when we started recruiting Julia. So we had some pretty good time to sit down, talk, meet face-to-face, Zoom, talk to her parents. And through that whole process, I think she just felt like this is a place where she could come and be comfortable. And that's important at this level with everything that they juggle. So I do actually remember a little bit more than some for whatever reason. But she's had a great experience, and really just like her path in getting to this point has been pretty unique. And I actually look back on it now, and it all kind of makes sense. She swam so well, and it was unexpected. But looking back at how she prepares and how she trains, it all lines up. Like she prepared to do this, and so like in that sense, it wasn't terribly surprising.
That's awesome. Could you explain to a complete non-athlete what you mean when you say
Sure.
how she prepares for this?
Yeah. So we put in roughly 20 hours a week of work in our training, and Julia being an IMer means she touches on a little bit of everything. She'll do certain sessions that are with our distance swimmers. She'll do certain sessions that are with our best swimmers in each individual stroke, and it's really intense. And she came in last year and really probably trained at a higher level than we had seen in the past, and continued to do that this year. And that's why I shouldn't have been surprised, is because she was doing things in workout that we hadn't seen before, and training at a level that we hadn't seen before. So that's probably what I mean when I say I shouldn't have been surprised, because she's been doing great things since she's been here.
How do you both balance obviously you want to emphasize what a big deal this is and the intensity of the competition, but also it seems like you both are able to relax. You're both able to laugh a little and to have fun and to not feel like, okay, this is the intensity of the moment. And obviously to be a student at the same time. How do you balance all of those things?
I know it seems like we're calm. No, I think that's a great question. I've had to remind Julia a couple of times over the last 2 weeks that this is just another swim meet, and it actually will feel that way once we get there. But you're right, some of the build-up certainly feels that way. How do you feel?
I typically always think that it's a way bigger deal than it actually is. So I do stress out a lot about it, but I think the fact that I feel more relaxed now than I did for A10s, because I've gotten to this stage now that from my swimming and stuff, and I performed then, so I'm like, oh, I can still perform now, so I'm feeling more relaxed about it. Balancing that with school is pretty difficult at some times, especially when you miss a week for A10s, and then the next weekend you miss the Thursday, Friday, and then thankfully it's spring break, so I don't miss any classes right now.
But you missed spring break.
Yeah, that's
Just kidding. Nancy is pretty great.
Yeah, but I think having been here last year and done it all last year, I think it's made it easier for me to balance everything this year and be more relaxed about certain things because I've done it all before.
I think this meet's also just kind of like the icing on the cake. She really has nothing to lose. You know, go in there, send it, see what happens. There's really not much to lose that way. I think the Atlantic 10 meet, and then especially the meet in Georgia was probably the pressure cooker because it was like kind of do or die. So yeah, really
There you
do or
go.
die.
You did it. Is it when you lose? You mentioned that you felt good about that race. When you lose 5 seconds, that seems like a lot. I mean, did you know? You knew it went well, but did you know that you had sort of transcended one class and another?
So at I-10s, I swam a 4:11 in the heats. So I dropped 4 seconds then. And that was like, I had no idea what time I was swimming. I thought it was fast, but I didn't think I had dropped that much time. And then by the time I got to Georgia, I was like, okay, this is probably either the same or a little faster. But I didn't think that honestly, I wasn't expecting myself to drop another second, really.
Yeah.
But it happened. And
Great.
it was,
surprised.
yeah, it was great. It was fun. I had a good weekend that weekend.
It was a fun
We
weekend.
had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And one other thing, you mentioned the camaraderie of the team and how much support you get from your fellow swimmers. Can you talk a little bit about that and what a difference that makes for your swimming?
So I think at the start of the year, I had a really awful time. I was really unsure like what way my season would go, and I like really didn't think that it was gonna go well at all.
Really?
But without my teammates, it definitely would not have went well. I think that the support that I received from people who knew what was going on and people that didn't know what was going on, it was just like what really kept me here and kept me going. So especially this year, I would not be here if it was not for my teammates. And I think last year coming in and feeling like I was part of something that was bigger than just my own swimming, it felt like amazing. And whenever you go to meets and you're at I-10s and everyone's like coming over and hugging you, and like no matter how you swim, it doesn't make a difference about how people will support you or how people feel about you, which is like probably the best thing. So
Yeah. That's lovely. Brian, do you have anything to add about the GW swim community and what kind of attitude or what kind of atmosphere you try to create there?
Yeah, I think Julia kind of nailed it. You know, we take a lot of pride in allowing our athletes to be themselves, and we want to be the kind of place where you can feel comfortable coming in and doing that. And Julia's a good example where at one point last year, she came up to me and just said, say something, give me a statement of affirmation about yourself. And I was like, why? You know, I'm 40. Like, we're not used to that sort of thing. I'm from Boston. Like, we don't do that. But it like kind of spoke to the sort of attitude we had kind of developed within our team and how the teammate, you know, their teammates play off each other to bring out good things. And I ended up saying something. I forget what it was. It was a total lie, whatever it was. But
it made you feel good.
It was one thing. It did make me feel good. It was one thing, a moment in time where I thought to myself, like, okay, I like the way that like some of the attitudes we have within our team have shifted. And, you know, I think Julia is a good representative of the value system that we have within our team, which is inclusive. It's, you know, fairly easygoing. You know, we make fun of each other all the time. She brings it to me, I give it back to her, and like it's a lot of fun to be on our pool deck, and that helps. That definitely helps when it's a little bit of a pressure cooker, or you know, we're grinding through October, November training or whatever it is. It's just a good attitude to carry with yourself, and they found it for the most part a good balance where there's great commitment, there's great focus, hard work, intensity, effort, but it's also balanced with, you know, an understanding that like we want to be a pretty inclusive place, and we want to make sure that we have a lot of respect for each other. And I think the attitudes that we have within our team makes people feel more comfortable being on the pool deck. And all I can relate it back to is myself. So once I started catching myself like vlogging on the pool deck and like doing all sorts of things I never would have done in the past, because I felt like as a coach, I had to put forth a maybe a more professional front. They bring the best out of us that way, I think, and they do so for each other.
That's lovely. I think that pretty much covers what I need to cover as far as like press conference questions. I might want to get some more in the weeds background from you, but that'll come as I'm writing. Let's see. Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to?
I'm just like excited to experience, like there's so much talk about it and it's so like hyped up that I'm just excited to be there and like experience what it's like and to see all of these people. And because everyone else is going to be swimming fast, I'm hoping that I swim fast. So
Yeah, great.
yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Oh, I do have one question. Do you remember what was going through your head when you came up to Brian and was like, "Tell me something affirming"? Like, why?
I think I was freaking out. And I think I had been saying to other people, so then I just went around like the whole team and I was like, tell me something about yourself. Yeah. Yeah. That was all.
I love that. You're creating a big organism with everyone involved. I love it. Anything that I haven't asked about or that you would really like to emphasize as you're going into this?
I'm good.
I know.
I don't think so.
Be done answering questions and be able to swim.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Thanks so much, Ruth. David,
Thank you.
you have any closing questions? I'm all good. I just have one more for you, Julia. Is Georgimatic giving you any advice from his experience last year?
Oh, he is giving me plenty of advice.
Too much.
He's been great. Whenever we were in Georgia, he really like made me feel like I should be there as well, because I was like, I shouldn't be there. I'm not good enough to be there. But he's really like made me feel more confident about my swimming and that I deserve to be there. And he's really just like, take it all in, experience like the experience and just enjoy it. He's been great. I had dinner with him last night, so he was great. Yeah.
Georgie's a phenomenal young person, and when I think about some next steps with our program and these things kind of snowballing, it probably starts with him a little bit, getting there last year and showing that it can be done. And he has a good demeanor about him. Julie's been fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with Georgie on the road. He's a unique character for sure, but a very intelligent young man, a great swimmer, and a big part of our program. And Julie is a trendsetter that way too now. And as a coach, that's invaluable as we keep taking steps forward. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.